Ladies and gentlemen, federal employees, I talk to a ton of retiring federal employees every single day, and I hear the craziest things you can imagine. I hear all the myths, the misconceptions, the mistakes that people make right around retirement, and today we're going to share some of the biggest ones with you. Especially as federal employees, there's some deeply embedded myths about retirement that need to be put to rest. Today we're going to be sharing those with you, so hopefully you don't make the same common mistakes. Now, if you're new to the channel, so good to have you. My name is Dallin Haas. I'm a financial planner who helps Fed just like you retire every day, and I love it. So let's talk about it. First and most pervasive, my expenses will just go down magically in retirement, right? That's just how it works. I retire and my expenses just magically go down, right? I magically want to do less. And for most people, now, I know this is true sometimes. I've seen it sometimes, especially if people have, let's say, extreme jobs where they have tons of commuting or this or that. I've seen sometimes the expenses go down in retirement, but the vast majority of the time, it's just not true. When you're busy with your job, you're busy working, you're busy making money, and then you retire and you've got all day long where you're thinking about ways to spend it, right? You're thinking about the next trip for this or that. For most people, expenses do not go down in retirement. For many people, if they have the retirement they want, they actually could go up. Not all the time, but sometimes, okay? So I would not bank on your expenses just magically going down. Now, again, some expenses may go down with gas, not commuting or blah, 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 right? But for most people, don't bank on that. I see some people like, yeah, I'm okay with having less in retirement because, of course, my expenses go down. I'll just need less. And it doesn't magically happen. Now, one exception that I often see is, let's say you pay off your mortgage, right? That goes away. Well, maybe your expenses do drop once that's paid off, but that doesn't necessarily always coincide with retirement. So first myth, debunked. Expenses don't magically go down in retirement just because you retired. For most people, they stay about the same, if not go up. Okay? So first one, debunked. Next, taxes. I'll just be in a lower tax bracket in retirement, right? Of course. That's what people say. Again, probably not. I speak to a lot of feds. And again, with the expenses thing, most people don't want to have a lower standard of living in retirement. And so if you want about the same amount of income to provide a similar standard of living in retirement, you probably need similar income to what you have while working. And if you're making about the same amount of income in retirement that you are working, you're probably going to be in the similar tax bracket. Now, the one exception to that is if you've got a whole boatload of Roth money in retirement. That's like Roth TSP, Roth IRAs. If you don't know much about that, you put money in, you get no tax deduction for it, but when the money comes out, it comes out tax-free. So if you've got a whole boatload of Roth money that you can pull out tax-free in retirement, then maybe you can have a similar income level, but legitimately be in a lower tax bracket. But I've spoken to a lot of feds. Most feds have most of their money in the traditional TSP. When the money comes out, it is taxable. When you get your pension from the government, it is taxable. Social Security, for the most part, the majority of it is taxable. The first supplement, taxable. Most people do not pay less taxes in retirement. Those people that I see that do is because they retire with not the amount of income they want. If legitimately your income is, let's say, at this level here, then in retirement it stair-steps down legitimately, then yeah, maybe your taxes will go down, but most people don't want that. Most people want to stay about at the same level. Okay? So, taxes don't magically go down in retirement. And one thing to keep in mind is, what if tax rates go up in the future? Which I don't know, but if I was a betting man, I don't think taxes are going down anytime soon, right? The government kind of needs all the revenue they can get. There's a lot of debt. There's just a lot of stuff. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know, right? This is putting politics aside. I just don't think they're going down anytime soon. Okay? So that's myth number 2. Sometimes I see taxes go down, but again, most of the time, that's just not the case. Next, my retirement, if I plan really, really well, If I have an amazing plan, my career, my retirement will go as planned. Now, 2025 is a fantastic example to show you that this is not the case. With the DRPs and the Veras being thrown everywhere, with people retiring sooner than they otherwise would have, people being pressured out the door, we know life is unpredictable. Life is unpredictable, and most people in the past as federal employees assume they can work just as long as they would like to, right? But that actually is not the case. Certainly there's pressure right now to downsize the government, so it's pushing some people out. But many people have been forced out earlier than they otherwise would have because of, let's say, their health or their spouse's health or their parents' health, where they were forced to leave earlier than they otherwise would because of those things. No matter how well you plan, life happens. And the same is true in retirement. We don't know how long we're going to live. We don't know how long of a retirement we're going to have. We don't know anything. We don't know what health. We don't know any of that, right? You have to have a plan. Now, planning is not important because the document itself where you make your plan is written in stone and everything's going to happen exactly right, because it doesn't. Planning is important because as you go through that process of planning out your retirement, whether all your income sources, what to do with TSP and Social Security and Medicare and life insurance and making sure your spouse is okay, going through that process makes you better equipped to actually handle the changes. If you don't know all the details of your plan and tax law changes, or they change Social Security, or they get rid of the first supplement, or stuff happens, you won't be in a good spot to handle it. But if you have an awesome plan and things change, which I'm sure they will, taxes may go up, things might happen, inflation may be crazy, who knows? If you've done the planning work, you'll be in a better spot to handle it. Mentally, at least, at the very least. And that's why it's so critical to have wiggle room in your plan. For example, if you need, let's say, $5,000 a month to be comfortable in retirement, and you have exactly $5,000 a month of income, that's it. You have no wiggle room in your plan, that is not a good place to be. You want to have some wiggle room. Just like right now while you're working, if you live paycheck to paycheck, if you spend every last dime that comes into your bank account, things are stressful. The same is true in retirement. We don't know what's going to happen. You've got to have backup plans. You've got to have wiggle room so that you can absorb the unexpected. Because I guarantee there's going to be plenty of that in retirement. So I hope that's helpful. Those are some of the big misconceptions we see all the time. But please, in the comments below, put the misconceptions or things. If you're retired, what are the things that surprised you? Share with the community so we all learn and get better together. And I hope that's helpful. I'll see you guys in the next video.